Hello there, this is MADASGARDIAN. I've been asked to submit some video, so here we go. This is Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup. I've been playing this a lot lately. It's pretty much all I play lately. It's just, I don't know, I just like it. I've been playing it maybe 3 years now. It's a community developed game. It's based on a game from the 90s called Lindley's Dungeon Crawl, which kind of descended straight from Rogue, where we get roguelike, obviously. So you can download the client or you can play online. I usually play online. There are a bunch of servers around the world. And it's nice because it kind of tracks all your data. You could start a game at home and play a few rounds at work. So let's go ahead and get started. I play on Kelby, the CKO server. And we're just going to play Trunk. Trunk sort of reflects all the latest, changes they've made. When there's a stable version, they'll usually release it and have like a little tournament. So we will get going. Okay, so there are a bunch of different background class races and backgrounds. Races sort of give you certain aptitudes for certain things, like Minotaurs are really good at fighting, Deep Elves are very squishy but very good with magic, and certain ones have various novelty value, like an Octopode has 8 arms, so you can wear 8 rings, but you can wear no armor, so things like that. Generally, for a beginner, it's a pretty good idea to start with a Minotaur and then go ahead and choose Berzerker. And then you can choose your weapon type. Weapons tend to have different little perks. Axes can cleave, so the typical, swing your weapon and you hit everybody near you. Spears let you reach. Long blades let you parry and strike back if you dodge. So axe is usually a good. Trog likes axes, so we will pick axe. And here we are on the first level of the dungeon. So we're going to do the % sign to pull up our character. Health, resistances, inventory, your starting stats, which again vary based on your race and your background. Worshipping gods is an important part of the game. Berserkers start off worshipping Trog, who is basically a god that likes you to kill things, hates magic. If you weren't playing Berzerker, you would have to find an altar along the way and worship a god. But we start off with a god and start off with some god abilities. So Trog gives us Berserk right out of the gate, which sort of helps us with fighting in the early levels when you may run into some dicey encounters, and then he'll give us more abilities along the way. We'll talk about those. And then Minotaur does have some unique abilities. You just sort of, occasionally when you're fighting, you'll just sort of reflexively headbutt somebody. It's not a skill you have to hit any button, it just sort of happens. And that goes along with the pair of horns we have, so it's a nice combination. So we're going to look at our abilities. By default, your abilities will be trained and automatically, just sort of as you use them. If you set it on auto, that's the default. Your abilities will train as you use them. The game sort of picks, skills it thinks you're going to need, and as you use those skills, it'll train them up. Generally, that's okay when you're starting. Generally, though, you want to switch to manual mode where you can pick and choose where you want your skill points to go. So to start, we want our skill points to go into our axes so we get better at killing things, and that will make us better at fighting, and it'll make us swing our axe faster, so eventually we'll be able to swing like 2 or 3 times before an enemy can swing once. And then if we look at our inventory, we don't start with much. We start with a hand axe, an animal skin, and a ration. And we will get going. So here's the exit. If we make it all the way, we'll want to come back out here. This is a trap hatch down. It's one way. We don't want to take that. You tend to want to explore floor by floor. So you can move around with the arrow keys, or what I usually do, at least at the beginning, there's an auto travel. If you hit O, it'll just sort of take you to, it'll stop you items of interest, or if it finds an enemy. And then to fight, you just sort of run into them, and as you see, we killed him pretty quickly. And then there is a food clock, so you'll see this is indicating there's something here. There's the gecko corpse. So if you hit C, you can cut up the corpse, and if you go in inventory, we have a chunk of flesh. So you can either eat a ration or you can eat a chunk of flesh. These will degrade over time. Rations will not. So here's an unidentified potion. So now we have 2 unidentified potions. You can risk drinking them if you want. Some of them have adverse effects, so it's not the greatest idea. Once we find some identify scrolls, we can start to figure out what those are. Here's another hand axe, but it's not going to be, that one's not going to be any better than what we have. Here's some gold. Here's hobgoblin. So generally, you don't really want to rush into combat. You want things to come to you so they have less opportunity to hit you. And when possible, especially for a melee user, you want to sort of narrow channel people into halls like this so they can come at you one at a time. Although we can cleave with our axe, so, but generally you still don't really want multiple people thumping on you at once. So this is a teleport trap. It'll just bounce us around a little bit if we go in there. Here are some enchanted boots. We'll take this goblin out. We gained a level. Take this kobold out. Neither of them left a corpse. This guy has some stones. Stones you can throw, or if you find a sling, you can propel them with the sling for a little more damage. So we'll take those just in case. Let's pick up these boots. To wear is Shift W. And then we'll click D to put those on. And so it's a +1 pair of boots, so it gives us a little more AC. There's a kobold and a hobgoblin. Pick up some of these extra stones. Now we'll sort of just pick them up by default since we picked them up once. Here's a staircase down. We'll want to check out the whole floor before we think about going down. Some auto travel. Yeah, rats aren't really something we're gonna have to worry about as a Minotaur Berzerker. So we can just sort of kill these guys. You can either walk into an enemy to attack, or if you hit tab, it'll just sort of attack a foe near you automatically, and if he runs away, it'll sort of chase him too. But tabbing can often get you killed, so it's kind of makes it easier to fight, but also makes it easier to get into a situation you don't really want to be in. So that, kill him, eat him up. Kobolds, even if they leave a corpse, you cannot eat them. And then if you run across an enemy, you're not sure what it does, because some enemies, if you don't know what they do, they can kill you very quickly. So if you hit X to get your cursor, and if you hover over this, we'll hover over this dart slug, and if you hit V, you can sort of read about him. There's a little, description, gives you some basic information, nothing concrete. Slow, small, can bite for 3 points of damage, and he can also shoot a dart. So if you click this or hit the air, it'll tell you a little bit about that. And he's asleep, so maybe we can sneak up on him, although we're a Minotaur, so we're not especially stealthy. Okay, so we've hit level 3, so now we can choose a statistic. For Minotaurs, you're generally going to want strength. At some point you may want an intelligence or 2, because your intelligence is so low and certain creatures can drain your stats and certain items can degrade your stats, but we'll just do strength for a while. So we've cleared out the level, it's telling us it's done exploring. So you can either come here and find a stair down, and then you just hit the right caret, or you can just sort of, to auto travel down, you can hit Shift G to go and then click down, it'll take you to the nearest stairs automatically. These are some jackals. If I was a spellcaster, they'd be a bit of a pain because they're very fast and there's usually a bunch of them, but again, as a Minotaur, we're not super stressed out at the early levels. These worms they're slow, but they can do a decent amount of damage, but again, as a Minotaur, we should be in reasonably good shape. Eat him up. Here are some darts. We may get into throwing weapons, but I don't really, not really interested in darts. There's a quokka. They're very fast, but again, Minotaurs are pretty hardy, so we're not too worried. So right now we just have our animal skins. We want to upgrade our armor pretty quickly. So I'm going to see an item on the ground. You'll hit comma to pick it up, and then Shift W takes you to your wear screen, and we're going to want to wear that leather armor. And you can see it's reflected on our character, and our AC went up a bit. And I'm going to drop the animal skin. And we'll explore around here a little more. There's a hatch up. We may need this on the way back up if we ever get that far. So here's Crazy Youth. He's our first, and you can see at the bottom, he's wielding a +3/4 Staff of Chaos and a cloak. I mean, if we wanted to go staves, it may be worth it. If we really wanted the cloak for a little extra AC, it may be worth it. But he's a unique, and there's a bunch of them that you'll encounter along the way. They're sort of like mini bosses. So he always shows up in this vault. Other ones will just kind of run into along the way. So there's nothing we really need from him, and he could potentially kill us. We're just gonna leave him alone for now, at least. And just keep auto-exploring, get some rations. We'll buzz through these jackals pretty fast. Another unidentified potion. Once we find some identified scrolls, we'll start to figure those out. Here's some orcs. This one you can kind of tell he's wielding a magic weapon. You can kind of tell by the bluish cast. This guy's also wielding a flail of protection. There's an unidentified scroll. And here's an orc priest. These are dangerous because they can smite you, which basically lets them do damage at you. You know, he could be behind a line of 20 orcs, and he doesn't need line of sight. He can just smite you anywhere he can see you, so he's a problem. So I may go ahead and, we're probably fine, but I may go ahead and Berserk just to make sure we kill these. And you can also see we now have Trog's Hand, which is another god skill. So your skills are based on your piety. So if we go to our religion overview, Trog the Wrathful, he's basically just god of violence. He wants you to kill things, basically. So Berserk we had to start. Trog's Hand ups your regeneration and magic resistance. A little bit later on in the game, we'll start to be able to call in, berserked ogres and trolls to fight with us, and he will start to gift you weapons. And if we go to the next screen, basically just tells you a bit more about the god and what he wants. Like, he basically likes it when you kill things, and then tells you what his powers are based on. Like, his powers are based strictly on the piety you build up. Other gods will be based on, certain skills that you may need to level up. So yeah, so as this goes up, we will gain more favor with our god and get more powers. So I am going to Berserk, and it should be pretty easy to take these guys out. Maybe. And so now when our Berserk ended, you're in a minus Berserk state. So you just kind of slow down. So you kind of lose your enhanced abilities, and you're a little impaired for a few turns. There's some boomerangs. Like I say, we may go into throwing, so we may want those. Flails. So generally speaking, we decided to go with axes. So generally, it's usually a good idea to stay with axes. This is the skill screen. Again, we're training up our axes right now, and you'll just start to get a feel for the numbers. I will probably train up axes to around 10, then think about, maybe adding some fighting or some armor or some dodging. And then a little bit later, we can maybe think about some throwing, or maybe pick up a crossbow or something. If you're a magic user, there tends to be a lot more skills to think about. So, but as a, Minotaur, Berzerker, you don't really have too much to worry about in terms of skilling. So I've took a lot of damage there. I can walk around and I'll slowly regenerate, or if I hit 5, it'll just sort of advance time until I'm healed up, and it'll stop obviously if some monsters come along. Okay, so we did some auto traveling, and we hit a shaft, and we dropped 1 floor. So this tends to screw you because you're dropped into the middle of God knows what, and you don't really know where the stairs are back up. So this is an adder. They're kind of tricky because they have high evasion, and they can poison you when they take damage. But again, we're with Trog, so we can bump up our regeneration if we need to, and yeah, we're good. Another unidentified scroll. We'll clear a few levels and maybe start checking out our scrolls. So here we have, again, Orc Priest and an Orc Wizard. So Orc Wizards can have sort of different spell sets, and we don't really know which one he has yet because he hasn't used any spells, but sometimes they have Confuse, which can be a problem, and here this is showing you, he has a 50% chance to confuse us if he does have Confuse. So what I could do is if I go ahead and go lowercase a to get to my abilities and put on Trog's Hand, and then so we can see Orc Priest smitten. So he took off 10 points of damage. But if we go into my main screen, you can see I now have 2 pips of magic resistance, so that'll help the confusion. So if we look at, he blinked, so we can't find him right now, but yeah. So if we look at him now, his chance to confuse me, if he has Confuse, is 3%, so it's not a bad idea. And since there's a priest and a wizard, and I just lost some health, I'm going to go ahead and Berzerk again, because it boosts up your health a bit. You see my health went up quite a bit. So we'll just take these guys out. And then there's nothing really to butcher here. Unknown potions, scroll. Here's a sling. We may go with slings. I'll probably do throwing, but it doesn't hurt to have it just in case. It's a rat. These are sling bullets, which you can't do anything with unless you have a sling, so we'll go ahead and take those. And we'll just keep checking out the dungeon here. And so again, these 2 guys will leave us corpses. If you just auto explore, you'll go ahead and carve them up automatically, depending on the version you're playing. And then if we look in our inventory, we can see we picked up those chunks. So we'll have those for a while. And if you get hungry and you auto travel, you'll auto eat, or you could just hit E if you need to eat. And you can choose, yeah, either a ration or a chunk of flesh. So here's a god altar. Let me kill this dude. So this is the altar of Makaleb. He's sort of like the god of destruction. He gives you like health on kills. You can summon demons. But again, we already have a god. You'll find altars if you start off, as most characters start off without a god, so you'll have to find an altar like this in the dungeon, or there's also a temple where you can you'll be able to find most of the gods in that temple. So we'll just keep exploring. Here's an orc. There's a net. Those tend to come in handy. You can net folks and get away. Some rations, a scroll, stone, gecko. Okay, so that's the end of Dungeon 3. I'm going to go ahead and maybe read a couple scrolls. Here's we have this group of 3. That might be Identify. Yeah, let's Identify. So now we can identify anything we don't know. So generally it's a good idea to do the potions because there's some super helpful potions. Might gives us extra strength, which obviously comes in handy. Potions of degeneration. Those do nothing for you. They're there just as a trap if you start blind quaffing potions. One more scroll of Identify. We'll do one more potion, the set of 2 sentimented dark potions. That's curing. So curing will restore a little bit of health and also cure you of any poison or certain other effects. So that's a good one to have. There's also a potion of heal wounds, which heals a decent amount of health if we can find it. I'll try this other set of 2 scrolls. This is a scroll of teleports. This is kind of like one of your escape mechanisms. You can see the little telly over here on the right. After a couple turns, you'll just sort of teleport somewhere randomly on the dungeon level you're on. So we have one more of those if we need it. I'll try a couple of these other scrolls just to see what they are. Enchant armor. I mean, I probably won't use this leather armor for long, so I'll enchant the boots. I mean, it's once I've read it, I have to use it. So, you know, maybe I should have waited. But here's a scroll on mapping, which, as you can see, it sort of mapped some of the terrain we haven't visited yet. So it's handy in certain cases. We'll try one more. Scroll of noise. Sometimes it's handy to draw monsters out of certain areas, but again, it's just like a scroll to maybe trip you up if you're just randomly reading them. Remove curse. We don't have any cursed items at the moment, so that won't do anything. And amnesia. We don't know any spells, so that won't help us. If you're a spellcaster, you have a set amount of points to allocate to spells. And when you run out, you can either boost your spellcasting skill or you can try to forget other spells. And certain gods will help you with that. So this is kind of an interesting dungeon level because it's kind of split. Like I can't access this area from anywhere here. So I'm going to have to go. Usually the floors are sort of, you can traverse the whole area. Sometimes they'll be split based on the staircase. So we need to find... Oh, right, we were shafted. Okay, so I'm going to come back here and explore the rest of this floor. So here is another unique. This is Natasha. She's a Felid, which is like a cat person, and this is one of the races you can play. So I mean, if you're interested in cats, you know, if you play a lot of TG, you can be a cat person. She's kind of unique among uniques in that she has multiple lives. We'll have to kill her a few times. And she's a bit dangerous because she knows some magic, so if she starts to kill us, we'll use Berzerker, but she did not, so we will cut her up and eat her. And we may run into her a few more times on this floor. Yeah, there she is again. So she's summoning an imp. But again, we got her pretty easy. We're at level 5 now, so I'm going to pick strength again. So my strength's up to 24. Strength helps with damage, of course, and helps with your armor. So right now we just have leather armor. So if we pull up our armor, it tells you a bit about it. So the base armor rating is 3 and the encumbrance is 4. You want your strength to be somewhere above the encumbrance rating, which obviously we are at 24. We are well above that. But we will want some stiffer armor. Okay, so here we are back here, and we could probably, I mean, it should be fine. We could use the experience, so we'll go ahead. That Staff of Chaos can do some crazy stuff, but we should be fine, hopefully. Maybe not. Yes, now we are petrified. So we basically need to kill him in the next turn. Okay, so we're good. So again, we're going to stick with axes. The Quarterstaff of Chaos is interesting. It has a lot of effects. But we will take his cloak, and again, Shift W, and then E. So now we have a little cloak, so a little extra AC. If you think you may have missed something, or if you want to search for something specific, you can hit Control F, just kind of like, you know, in your web browser. I want to see if I've missed any armor. Okay, so really only leather is the best armor we found so far, so we're good. Okay. So we have that split level below us, so we want to find a stairs we haven't taken. We took the stairs because it doesn't have that little asterisk next to it. So if you want to find the stairs, an easy way, what you can do is if you hit Shift X and then you push the down caret, it'll take you to the downstairs and trapdoors. And if you hit the left caret, it'll take you to the upstairs and the up trapdoors. So we'll take a look. So here, so if we want to go there, we can just hit Enter. And it stopped because we ran into Natasha, so we will kill her for a third time. This is now her spirit's been put to rest, so we won't have to deal with her anymore. So I'm just going to come down to these stairs. Okay, so now we're in this sort of area that we couldn't access otherwise. It's a cockroach. There's a trapdoor up. These are like one way, so if I come up here, so I can't go back down. Okay, now we still popped up in this sort of new section. So eat ham, get the dart slug, some crossbow bolts. We may do crossbow, so I'll hang on to those bolts. But we really want to focus on axes and armor and fighting for the most part. Okay, so that's dungeon level 3. So again, just a quick go down. I'm going to hit Shift G and then the right caret, and now we're on dungeon level 4. And we'll keep coming in here. So again, to fight, you can push towards the enemy, or you could just, if you hit during tab, you'll either move toward the enemy or attack them. So it definitely streamlines the process, but so I'm just going to tab. It definitely streamlines fighting, but it's easy to tab into a situation you didn't really want to be in. And you saw there some of the cleaving that was going on because I have the axe. Kill the worm. The worms can do a lot of damage, but they're slow. Again, if you run into a monster you don't know what it does, you can hit X and then V. So howler monkeys aren't too scary. They can do 8 points of damage, but they do have this warning cry. So they make a bunch of noise and draw things towards you. So I'm going to back up a bit because we don't really know what all is over there. And then we'll kill them and eat them. That'll show them. Here's a scroll of remove curse, a scroll of identify. There's an ant. Ants do some damage, and they can also poison you like adders. So they can sometimes be a little dangerous. But we do have regeneration as a god ability, so that'll help us out. Gnolls can be a bit of a pain. They tend to go in packs, and they tend to sometimes have pole arms and throw nets. So it's probably a bit of overkill, but I'll go ahead and berserk just to make sure we take these guys out. Looks like we got a potion. Here's some ring mail, so I'm going to upgrade my armor. So you can see now we have an armor class of 7, an evasion of 12. So I'm going to put on this ring mail. These our AC went up and our EV went a little down, but we're fine with that. We're going to focus on armor. So this is a phantom. These are kind of a pain in the ass because they blink all over the place and they have high EV, and they're immune to a bunch of stuff. They're immune to poison, they're immune to negative energy, resistant to cold, but shouldn't be too bad as a Minotaur. We're good. Here's a buckler. I mean, I think we want to work towards a giant axe, but if you want, shields are definitely part of the game. You can focus on a one-handed weapon and, various types of shields, or you can just go for a two-hander. I think as a Berzerker, we're going to go two-hander, so I'm just not going to bother with that. And we hit another shaft, so who knows where we end up on level 5. And you can drop multiple floors, too. So we want to find some stairs back up. Here's a slime, which shouldn't be too much problem. So here's some stairs back up. So we're back on level 4. Some gold. Another potion. Here's some gods. Vehumet is good for like blaster casters. Gozag will he's sort of the god of greed. You can like call in shops. Monsters drop gold instead of corpses. So there's a bunch of different gods that really change the way the game works. Here's our first actual shop, so let's see what's in here. It's a general store, so you'll just have random stuff. It's got a ring of protection from cold, potion of resistance, scroll of identify. Scrolls of teleportation are definitely interesting. I don't really want to spend any money right now, so if you hit shift and choose the letter, you can put it on your shopping list. So if I escape out of there and if I hit the $, you can see those have been added to our shopping list. So we can easily come back here if we want. Scroll of identify. Some jackals, we'll just tab through those. But again, tabbing can get you killed more often than not. Okay, so we're done with this level. So we have a couple identify scrolls. So I'm going to identify some more potions. Potion of flight, which could come in handy. So these 2 brown potions. 2 potions of magic. We don't really need those because we don't cast spells, and our god abilities are based on hunger and piety. So I don't think we need those. So if you hit D, you can find our magic potion, drop it. Plus, I mean, Trog hates magic anyway. Let's see, we have a couple more identify scrolls. These 2 Centimetid Inky Potions, and these are random, so the Inky Potions are mutation this time, but you know, if you play again, there'll be something else. Potions of mutation will give you sort of certain random mutations. Sometimes they're beneficial, sometimes they're not, and certain monsters can mutate you, and you can use these to get rid of the bad mutations. So we have 1 more Scroll of Identify. We'll do these 2 orange potions. And they are lignification. Lignification potions turn you into a tree, which in certain cases can be useful. Maybe we'll see about that. Okay, so I'm going to go down to... Oh, there's a little adder that appeared out of somewhere. We must have missed him. So he's poisoned us, so we're a little bit poisoned, but we're in pretty good shape. And then I'll just rest, clear that out. So now we're in dungeon level 5 again. There's a little vault in here. There's a hound zombie. Potion, remove curse. So this is the temple. So we already have a god. But again, here, you know, if you were a character that did not start off with a god, you could pick from, just sometimes it's all the gods, sometimes it's a mix of them. But again, we have a god, so we are in good shape. There was an enchanted spear. But again, we're going to stick with axes, so we don't even really care about that. This worm, like I say, it can hit for 12 points of damage, which is pretty high in the early levels of the dungeon, but they're very slow, and as a Minotaur, we should be in good shape. There's a sling. I think we'll probably go throwing. Okay, we actually have a sling already, so I will delete one of those. Or drop one of them, I should say. Heat him up. Here's some gloves. This will give us a little extra AC. If they're enchanted, there's various enchantments that you can get. But a little extra armor class never hurts. There's a polearm. So we're training axes, and we should actually start to train some other skills too, but we're training axes, and you can see that maces and flails and polearms are also training up at a lower level. So there's kind of some cross-training going on. So if at some point I did want to switch, if I found a really cool mace or a really cool polearm, I might want to think about, you know, is it worth switching? But generally it's a good idea to stick with the weapon you train with. So our axes are up to 10, so I'm going to add some fighting and armor to our training. So fighting helps you a bit with combat, but also more importantly helps give you extra hit points. And then armor will sort of increase the effectiveness of your armor, so it'll pump up your AC and also help with your evasion. And if you're a magic user, I think it might help a little bit with some of the effects of armor on your magic, but I'm not sure. So we'll just train all 3 of those for right now. And if you want to look at our hand axe, generally your goal is to get your weapon to minimum delay. So this has a minimum attack delay of 6. So when our axes get to level 14, we can swing this at this speed, and any further training won't really help. And obviously the bigger axes you get, the more that goes up. So right now, let's see if we can find something to smack. Okay, so here's a little shadow imp. So I'm going to attack him, and you see the time on over here is 0.7. So right now I'm swinging at 0.7. So I get to attack a little more than once per turn. And that'll get faster as our axe skill gets better. So yeah, I'm doing like 0.8, 0.7. I guess now I'm doing 0.8. So that'll speed up as our axe skill goes up. So So again, if this tops out at skill level 14, one thing you can do is come to your skills and say, you know, I want axes to stop training at level 14. So you don't have to worry about, you know, overtraining it. And obviously over time we'll want that to go a lot higher. But so here's an ogre. These are one of the first kind of dicey guys you'll face. He can do 17 points of damage plus the damage from his giant club. So they can be a little scary. But again, a Minotaur, we're reasonably good. And we can call on some of our abilities if we need it. It's generally not a good idea to run towards monsters because it gives them potentially an extra attack. So I'm going to wait till he's on top of me and then I'm going to start swinging at him. And you can see I'm swinging at 0.8 delay. That'll get slower as we get better. So we took him out pretty easily. Our fighting and armor went up. I'm going to chop him up and eat him. I'm going to rest, and then we will keep going. There's a scroll of noise. These are not really seen as beneficial scrolls, so it's, I mean, you could pick it up and use it in certain cases, but generally it's not especially useful, so it won't really pick it up for you. Okay, so that's level 5, and you can see we're hungry here on the right. Again, you can either eat rations or pick up corpses. It goes through various stages of hunger, so we're probably fine. So I'm just gonna, again, hit Shift G and the carrot, and then it'll take me to the nearest stairs. So here is a bullfrog zombie. We'll take care of him. There's a scroll of teleportation. Okay, we still only have Berzerker and Trog's hand. I'm gonna back up because these guys are annoying. They can go invisible, and they can also hit you with electrical damage, which is problematic. So I'm gonna back up and see if I can take this ogre back up the stairs and fight him. Okay, I'm gonna come down this other staircase and keep going. There's our teleport scroll. There's another ration. So here's our Sky Beast again. We'll take him out alone. So we see he's invisible. He's almost dead, so we should be good. Maybe. Okay. Yeah. So our armor went up again. We're at level 8. And we're very hungry now. And so sometimes you'll be able to pick the skill that raises. Other times you'll just be granted like a random stat increase. So our agility went up, so our dexterity went up to 10. So here's an orc, and here's an orc wizard, and again, we don't know what set of spells he has, but I'm not going to worry too much. Well, now that there's an orc priest, I am going to worry a little bit. So I was kind of dumb. I did not rest up, so I'm a little bit low on hit points. So I think what I'm going to do is pop Trog's hand, so now I have some extra magic resistance and some extra regen, and then I'll start attacking these guys. Oh. Okay, so that was dumb. So let's see, I do have a couple wands. I could consider using a wand. To evoke a wand, you hit Shift V. So we have a wand of disintegration, a wand of ice blast. Could quaff a potion. We have heal wounds would be nice, but we do not have one. Curing potions cure us a little bit of damage. I'm not sure if it'd really be enough to be helpful. You could quaff a haste potion and run away. Our health is pretty low though, so I don't know. I might just try to walk away and see if I can get away from him. I think I am going to do a haste potion because we are really low on health. And so now we can just pull away from him pretty quickly. Except for this dude. I am going to use my Ice Blast wand and hopefully take him out. Okay. And wands make use of the evocation skill. So by default, if you have nothing here, they'll have some effectiveness, but if you pump skill points into this, they will become a lot more effective. So I'm going to come up the stairs, and then I'm going to hit 5 to rest. And you can see I'm starving now. So it's basically going to tell me, you know, you're too hungry to rest. So I will go ahead and, I don't have any chunks of flesh, so I'll just go ahead and eat a ration. and then we'll finish resting, and we will go back down. Here's our Arc Warrior. He's kind of a pain. He can hit for up to 20 damage plus the damage of his axe, and he has some armor, so they're a bit scarier than the regular orc. I think we should be okay though. If not, we can berserk. Okay, so he had some chainmail on, so I'm going to pick that up, and I'm going to wear that. And then you can see these gloves we wore are cursed. So that means you can't take them off. I mean, they're +0 gloves, so it's not really hurting us right now. But if these were like gloves -3, or if we found some cool new gloves, we couldn't wear them until we got rid of this curse. And that we would use a remove curse scroll. I'm not going to do it right now because, again, they're not really hurting us. So I'm just going to drop the ring mail. And you see we did pick up a ring, so I'm going to take care of, okay, I'm going to berserk, take these guys out, eat them up, rest, and then so to try and a ring, I'm going to hit Shift P for put on, and then so resist corrosion. That'll come in handy. Acid can fuck you up pretty bad, so it's good to have. It's not something you run into often, but enough that it's good to have. You can always, rings only take a little amount of time, so you can pop on a ring if you need it. Like if you know you're facing an ice beast and you have a ring of resist cold, you can pop it on and take it back off for something else you'd rather be wearing. So we did find a better axe, so let's take care of this guy first, and these guys, and these guys. And again, I have an axe, so I can cleave and damage people all around me without having to move around. Okay, so here's a war axe, which is an upgrade from our hand axe. So just lowercase w is wield. And right now we've got the hand axe, so we're going to switch to, we can take a look. So hand axe is accuracy of +3, damage, base damage of 7, attack delay of 1.3. The war axe is accuracy 0, base damage 11, base attack delay 1.5. So we're going to wield the war axe, drop the hand axe, and then again, just thinking about our training, the war axe is a minimum delay of 0.7, and you reach that at skill level 16 of your axes. So right now our axes are at skill 11, so we'll do pretty good with this, but we can do better as we get more axe skill. So you can see I'm swinging at that with like 0.9, so eventually it'll speed up. So just clear out the rest of this level. Jackal. So these are whites. They can attack for damage, and they can also drain you, which lowers your skills, which temporarily, which we'll see if they do it to us. And sometimes they'll have magic items. It's a lot of whites to be taken on at once. I mean, it's not too bad, but I'll go ahead and berserk. It shouldn't be too bad. I'll wait for the berserk to wear off. Not really using anything I want. No axes. So you can see over to the right, we're drained. So if we look at our skills, we can see that they're purple and they're down a little bit. So that'll just wear off over time as you run around and kill things. And we're starving, so hopefully one of these guys leave a corpse. So yeah, we'll eat chunk of flesh, eat chunk of flesh. Ants again have some poison, but I mean, when you're a Minotaur, it's not too much that worries you on the beginning parts of the dungeon. Okay, done exploring, so that is dungeon level 6. So we'll walk to a staircase, why not? There we go. We'll go down. Okay, so there's a lot here, so maybe we'll wait, take a couple guys up with us. Okay, so there's a battle axe. We could go for a battle axe now if we wanted. So battle axe is two-handed. So generally you want to make sure that you can attack at least once per turn. Our axe skills may not be quite high enough to attack once per turn, but let's see. So we wield the battle axe, and if we take a look at that, base accuracy is -4, damage is 15, and base delay is 1.7. You need to get your axes to level 20 to get to minimum delay, but I think we're probably close enough. Oh, that's a lot of guys, isn't it? Come back up very slowly. So we can see our attack is 1.2, 1.1. So we may want to use the war axe a little bit more. The other thing we can do is right now we're training fighting, axes, and armor. If we click B again, this will sort of prioritize your points into axes, so this will go up a little bit faster than everything else. Armor of 6 is probably okay for now, so I think I may focus on just getting axes up a little bit. Our health isn't too bad. So we'll go back down again. Here's another battle axe, and this one is enchanted, so this is a +2 battle axe. And that is an orc priest, so I'm going to come back up here, rest, and then we will wield this +2 battle axe and drop this other one. We'll go back down. Slowly fight these guys. Axe is increased to level 12. So level 8 we can choose a stat. We'll do strength again. And I need to eat, so I will eat another ration. Take this guy out. And we'll come back up and rest. And start attacking again. Sky Beast is... I should have not gone towards him, because now we don't really know where he is. Well, I guess he's there. Okay. So I guess I'll hang on to the battle axe. We're almost at the point where we can attack once around. Here's another ring we can try on. Ring of Slaying, that just gives us some extra fighting potential, so it's always handy to have. Unknown Potion. A couple of frogs. So these are spell books. If we were using magic, this would obviously be helpful and give us new spells. Trog hates magic, so that's why it's red. He doesn't want us to use it. In previous versions of the game, you could actually burn spell books when you worship Trog, which was fun, but they have a tendency to take fun little weird things out. So here's another unique. This is Pykel. He normally has a whip, and he has 4 slaves with him, and sometimes a whip is pretty dangerous. This one's a whip of freezing, so it's not too bad. So if you kill him, the slaves will sort of be neutral to you. So we'll see if we can do that. We seem to be killing the slaves faster than him, but okay. So again, if we were maces and flails user, the whip might be cool, but we're going to stick with this axe. Some gold. Here's a bunch of stuff. So we're going to take advantage of our cleave. So to let these guys come to us. Although one of them's a polearm user, so he's going to stay out of range. Okay, so our axes hit 14, which was the delay that we had initially set. I think we said battle axes need to train to 20, so we're gonna, let's see, we'll focus axes and we'll do some more fighting and some more armor. And so we can see we're hitting him at least once per turn, so that's pretty, usually when I feel comfortable using the next grade weapon. So take these guys out with their battle axe. Okay, then you have this little hog farmer here, whatever he is. Again, I'm going to channel these guys into this hallway. So in theory they come at me one at a time, but the pigs found a way around it. So we'll eat them up, grab this food. So this is an artifact robe, but we want armor, so we're not going to worry about that. In fact, search armor again. So yeah, we're wearing chain, which is the best armor we found so far. So we'll keep auto exploring. Kill these rats. Kill these rats. So these are some rats that are a little scary. So hell rats can bite for up to 20 damage, and they can drain you. And then the river rats are just a little nastier, but we should be okay. If we wanted, we could pull back here, so we're just fighting them one at a time. And Trog granted us a artifact Executioner's Axe, which is very nice. Executioner Axe is sort of the highest level axe. We're probably not going to want to use it right now because we don't have the axe skill, but we'll finish clearing this out. Okay, so this is a little vault, and this has the rat skin cloak. So you'll occasionally find little unique items like this. So the rat skin cloak gives you resist poison. It gives you some resist negative energy. Reduces your strength and intellect, raises your dexterity, and also lets you conjure rats. So we're gonna, this is definitely better than our cloak, so I'm gonna wear that. So now if we go to invoke or is it abilities? Yeah, so if you go to abilities, so we can evoke rat skin, and it costs 3 magic points and hunger, and the failure rate is 50%. So this will go down with if we raise our evocations, but we can just try it here and see. Yeah, so we got 2 hell rats, so that's, you know, could come in handy, especially hell rats. So yeah, so that's cool. Here's another ring. We'll finish clearing the floor, then we'll check out the ring. Okay. So we do have some identify. Let's see if we have, yeah, we have some potions still to identify. 3 potions to heal wounds, that'll come in very handy. Potion of resistance, so that'll give you, so if we look at our resistances right now, we have, from the rat skin cloak, we have the resist poison and resist negative. The ring of resist corrosion is giving us a pip of our corrosion. Potion of resistance will just give you some basic resistances, so it would, if we came up against, you know, a unique that had a lot of fire magic, we could pop that and it would give us some fire resistance, which we don't have right now. Do the emerald potion, potion of stabbing. I don't really find these especially useful. Those are kind of new. If you were a stabber, if you're like, you know, a little stealthy guy running around with a dagger, you can do like high damage with stabbing, so that might be useful for us at that point, but we're not, so just gonna save the space. This white potion is potion of brilliance. That's really more for magic users. I'm gonna just go ahead and drop that. And then we'll try this ring. I mean, resist corrosion, I mean, it's good to have if you're facing an enemy you know can corrode you, but it's not necessarily something you have to wear all the time. So I'm going to see what this ring is. So poison resistance is very useful, although we already have it on our cloak, so it's, you know, I guess I may go as well go ahead and put the resist corrosion ring on. But the biggest concern in the early dungeon is running into things that can poison you, and then some of the early vaults that we'll run into are have a lot of poison enemies, so our poison is a good thing to look for. So yeah, so we will put the resist corrosion back on. We're very hungry. We have 11 rations, so I'll just go ahead and eat. I mean, it's kind of hard to die of starvation. I mean, it's technically possible. Some arrows. So this is a alarm trap. So if I walk into this, you can see over here on we're marked and it made a bunch of noise. So mark basically tells every thing on the floor where you're at. So there's about to be a bunch of stuff headed this way, including a 2-headed ogre, which I don't really want to fight right now. So you can hit for 15 damage plus the damage of his giant club, and then 20 damage plus his giant spiked club. And it kind of tells you here, it looks extremely dangerous. It kind of gives you an idea. and you can see the text is in red. So we're just gonna leave, and you can see that B is coming. So like I say, everybody knows where we are. So we're just gonna rest, and now that mark is gone. We're gonna find another set of stairs. Let's see, we do have one unknown scroll. So I'll go ahead and read that. Scroll of random uselessness. You know, my axe glows yellow for a minute. Great. And it's just like if you're blind reading scrolls in a panic, that's one that could screw you over potentially. So grab up all this loot and keep moving. Okay, so there's that two-headed ogre. So I'm going to go to my abilities. So as your piety goes up, again, our piety's getting up pretty high. That's why we were gifted the axe, which, we still need to check. And we also have the ability to summon brothers in arms. I'm going to summon, hopefully, let's see. Yeah, our failure rate's pretty low, so we should be able to summon some. So this summons Berzerk, like orcs, ogres, and trolls. So we will let them take care of this double-headed ogre, hopefully. So they did a lot, so he's almost dead now, so we can probably finish him off. And then we will eat him up. And then here's a regular ogre. It's another two-headed ogre. Let's do brothers in arms again. So now I have a double-headed ogre that's berserked, so not too much. So here's an artifact, falchion. But again, we're not doing long blades, so we're not going to mess with it. But I do want to check out our executioner's axe here. It doesn't hurt to read identify scroll on these, because sometimes they can have certain nasty effects. So let's see what we got. So it's a +1 executioner's axe of flaming with RF and int +4. For this type of weapon, you cannot enchant it any further. You can find like enchant weapon scrolls. So if you just find like a regular axe of flaming +1, you could read, 3 enchant armor scrolls on and have an axe of flaming +4. This one cannot be further enchanted, and +1 is, I don't know, we may make use of it at some point, but it's not the greatest. Here's some bees. These are very fast and they can poison you. We can pull up regen if we need to, so we should be okay. Hat of the Bear Spirit. So I'm not sure if we can wear, yeah. So as a Minotaur we cannot wear helmets, but we can wear hats. And this one has a lot of good stuff going for it. So it's +2. Spirit is basically an effect that can be on some armor and weapons, and it uses your magic points as additional health points. And it also allows us to invoke rage, which we can berserk because we're berserkers of Trog. But if we were a regular fighter and had this, we could berserk if we wanted. It also has some resist negative magic and 2 pips of MR, which is very good. So I'm going to go ahead and put the hat on, and you can kind of see sort of that I have a hat on now. And if we go to our stats, I have 2 pips of MR, 2 pips now of R neg, because we have one from here. So yeah, it's like I say, a hat is about all we can wear as a Minotaur, so that's pretty good. Scoop up all this stuff. Another ring. Rings are usually okay to just try on. The worst it could be is cursed, and you just have to read a scroll to remove it. Magical powers, really something for magic users. It basically lets you cast more spells, or use more of your god abilities, but our god abilities use hunger and piety. They don't use magic points. It would sort of synergize with our hat, and that it would give us more hit points, essentially. Because when somebody hits us, it's going to drain our magic points along with our health. So, I mean, I guess we could wear it for right now, since we don't need the poison ring. Here's another ring. We'll swap out the magic. Ring of Flight is generally pretty useless unless you don't have any flight potions. So I'll put the I'll put the magical power, I guess, on for a few extra hit points. It's an embroidered cloak. So right now we're wearing, it's not going to be better than our rat skin cloak, but we can at least try it on. I just want to see if we have any remove. So yeah, we have 10 remove curse potion or scrolls, so we can try it. So yeah, just a +1 cloak. So actually I'll drop both of these cloaks. And if we wanted to make use of our rat skin cloak, we could boost our evocations a bit, or maybe boost it to 3. Keep focusing axes and fighting and armor. If nothing else, they'll be good distractions. So wand of paralysis. So yeah, here's our wands. I mean, wands are good backup. Again, you need to train up some evocations to get really good use out of them, and we're mostly concerned about axing things, and maybe we'll get into throwing or crossbows. Some enchanted leather armor, but we've got chainmail, so I think I'll stick with that. I mean, it could be really good, but it's probably... Here we can check it and see what it is. So yeah, +1 of magic resistance. You see our magic resistance is up to 3 now, but I think I'd rather have the extra AC. So I'm gonna drop that. Kill you, kill you. So yeah, with this battle axe, we can pretty much wade through a lot of stuff now. Yeah, so this looks like entrance to lair. So I'm just going to channel these guys. So here, see, the Orc Priest can smite me from here, even though this guy is between me and him. So it's a little bit of a dicey situation. I think I'll go ahead and Berserk just to make sure I can take these guys out. And what you see here is the entrance to the lair. So usually what people do is go down like the first 10 levels of the dungeon, and then the first 2 sort of branches you'll find will be the Lair of Beasts and the Orcish Mines. So we'll clear this out a bit more. We'll probably go down to Dungeon 10, but this is where we'll be going next. And they each tend to have their own little theme or flavor. Another battle axe. We're doing a good job with these guys. Gnolls don't really worry us too much now. This guy, again, tabbing makes it easy, but makes it easy for you to overextend. There's some scale mail, but our chain mail is better. Chop up these guys. Okay, so that's level 9. We'll go ahead and go to 10, I think. We have a couple scrolls that we don't know about. I mean, let's read a potion of identify, or a scroll of identify. We do have a potion we don't know. Okay, potion of ambrosia. It confuses you, but it boosts your. It's sort of a trade-off. It confuses you, but it boosts your healing. So, in a pinch, it's potentially handy. So we can either read-identify these scrolls, or just go ahead and read them. So this is Scroll of Vulnerability. It halves your magic resistance. Sometimes it affects you, but sometimes it's handy against certain opponents. And the other one was a Scroll of Requirement. So these are pretty cool. The old way they worked was you would choose an item type, like weapon or armor, and it would give you something random. Now it sort of gives you a choice. So we could take this +8 Executioner's Axe of Freezing with MR plus and Strength, which is pretty much really good for us. Manual of Fighting, if you carry this, it'll boost your fighting aptitudes. So you'll learn your fighting skills faster. Protection from Magic Ring, our MR is pretty good. Bunch of gold, which would be nice because we're heading into Orcish Mines in a bit, which has a bunch of shops at the end. And some rations. But it's kind of hard to say no to a +8 Executioner's Axe when you're a Berzerker of Trog, so we're going to take that. So we're going to grab that one, and if we take a look at it, yeah, so it is a base actually of -6, base damage of 18, base attack delay of 2, and you need to get your skills up to 26 for minimum delay. And the skills only go up to a max of 27, so that's basically a ways off. So our skill right now is 15. Not really probably at the point where we want to use that, but it'll come in handy. And I can just show you that. So if we put this guy on, you can see we're doing a lot of damage, but we're attacking at 1.3. So we're not attacking every turn, which gives these guys a bit of an edge on us. But we did okay. It might not hurt to... Let's see. I'm going to get fighting to 9. Armor I'll turn off. Evocations I'll let go to 2, or go to 3. I guess we could try using this for a bit, because it is +8, which is going to help us out. So here is a Centaur, which is a pain in the ass, because he can just sit back there and plink you since he's at range. So I'm going to pull back a bit and make him come to us, where he's less dangerous. Like that. Okay. So again, our attack delay isn't too bad. These guys throwing a bunch of poison darts at us. Back up a little bit, just because we don't know who else is back there. Bunch of orcs and double-headed orc, but they don't scare us quite as much now. Here's an artifact hand axe or war axe, which may have been interesting, but our battle axe and executioner's axe are going to be better, I would say. We could take a look at it just for fun. So it's a cursed +1 war axe of flame with corrode and strength +6. So yeah, we don't want that. And so since it's cursed, I can't get back to my executioner's axe unless I read a scroll of remove curse. So we can put our executioner's axe back on and keep going. Another unidentified scroll. And here's an ogre. And this is a treasure trove, so we'll go ahead and try to enter. These require various items to get into it. So this one wants a +2 storm dragon scales to function. So if we kill a storm dragon and get and it drops scales, or if we find a set of storm dragon scales, we can find one and enchant it to +2 and bring it here, or maybe we'll find one that's +2. So that's something to remember. And you'll get in there and you give it an item, and in turn you go in and there'll be, you know, it could be random. It could be a bunch of stuff that's very useful for you. It could be a bunch of random crap you don't need. So it's kind of touchy. Like some will ask for, you know, 10 healing potions, and it's like, do I want to give those up? Okay, so that's dungeon level 10. So we have not found the Orcish mines yet, and we want to do lair first anyway. So to go to lair, I'm going to hit Shift G, and lair was on the level up, so I can just hit L. And then you could pick a level. So like if we had already been on lair and we wanted to go back to level 2, we could, but we'll hit if we hit enter, you'll enter the lair. If we hit 0, it'll just take you to the lair. So we're at the lair. So I think we will stop here, and we will do more of this soon, I hope. See ya.